want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Good day, Mad Men Mafia.
I am Kirkin Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
That's right.
It's on today, folks.
That's right.
It's on today.
Hey, can I whine about something?
Yeah, do it.
All right, man. I played softball.
Wait. Before you whine, do I need to care?
No, man, you don't need to care.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to vent. That's all. I just want to vent.
All right,
I
vent
just want to
away.
get it off my chest. I played softball on Saturday. Played golf on Sunday. Went to the gym Monday morning. I did 3 sets under bench press, and my elbows felt like they were gonna fall off, dude. I mean, it was
getting old now. Making them, your elbows sound like the Tin Man. He needs some oil.
It was friggin' ridiculous, man. I took some ibuprofen, 800 milligrams, put some Tiger Balm on, and took about an hour, but it went away. And man, I'm gonna have to probably take, man, I might even have to take the rest of the week off of the gym, man, because man, that was no joke this morning, man. I was hurting, dude.
You need to get you some red light therapy, get the hot tub and that sauna. You got to loosen it up, man. 'Cause I mean, at least though, on the high note, on the good note, on the positive note, you do have the discipline to continue to go, even though you're in pain.
You see, that was the thing, man. I wasn't really feeling it, but I kind of, I had the mentality like I got to go, man. Like I got to keep the routine, got to keep the regiment, I got to keep the discipline, man. And I wonder if us as men, how much we value discipline these days, man. How much is that part of, the manscape of masculinity in our culture today? The whole idea of discipline.
Well, I know it's a big thing for us as men, but like to your point, I'm not sure how much it's been promoted or emphasized or really, because every men's group, every man talking about men's health and being a strong man and being a 1%, all that. At the bottom of it, the basis foundation is always discipline. You got to have the discipline to follow through. And I'll get into it a little bit later, but there was a book I just listened to that really gets into, I think, the mindset that affects a lot of our discipline as men. So, but yeah, I mean, discipline is key. No matter what it is, everything starts as a thought, starts as energy, and then you got to bring it down. You got to put the work in, the physical work in to make whatever you want happen. And that takes discipline. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be, you're going to fail, you're going to fall on your face, but you got to get back up and keep going. So small incremental steps, like you talk about all the time, Kaizen, small incremental steps over time makes a huge difference.
I'm going to at some point pivot here to certain type of discipline, but But
just give
at the
overview.
but at the we going somewhere specifically with this whole thing. But at the foundation of it, I wonder if a man can only go as far as his discipline will take him. Because when you think about your finances, when you think about your health, when you think about your relationships, when you think about whatever, man, every aspect of a man's life. Maybe our glass ceiling is the height of the discipline we're able to maintain and keep in our lives as men.
Yeah, I know that in my experience, I know you probably back this up too. Though in our past, we didn't have the discipline, we didn't have the mental strength to follow through. And what tends to happen for most of those guys, especially nowadays, is that we don't see the big picture. We don't have a passion. We don't have a purpose. We don't have a greater vision. And so it's all about the instant gratification. Well, instant gratification, it may sound good. Like, yeah, have the dessert, live it up. But if you keep having the dessert, living it up, then you get diabetes, and then you get overweight, and then you die of heart attack. So you need to have discipline to stop yourself from overindulging and that takes a depth of vision past the instant gratification. I think most of us, and I know in my experience, online porn, if it was drinking, hooking up, going out the club, trying to pick up some girl, that was instant gratification. It was just like, let me feel better today. Let me feel better right now so that I don't have to feel whatever it is I'm feeling versus let me actually do the work. Let me go inside and work on my inner child, work on my shadow side, work on all these things that are causing this need for instant gratification and have the discipline to sit through it and heal those old wounds and those old traumas to generate even more discipline. And that's what I'm finding now is that the more we do the work, the more I go to the gym, the more I get in, do the inner child work, the more discipline I have to do it because the better I feel.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I'm gonna tease it again. We're gonna go somewhere specifically with this whole conversation. But as you were like something you just said really brought up something that we didn't even talk about before this, which is that discipline, like masculinity, cannot be feeling based. Like
Mm.
the feelings aren't part of either one of them because you ain't never gonna feel like being disciplined. You ain't never gonna feel like, most of the time anyway. You definitely you can't count on yourself feeling like going to the gym. You can't count on yourself feeling like budgeting and investing and but if you displace the feeling from it all, then you got to understand that it is a process, and manhood, the man journey is the same way. You ain't gonna feel like all the stuff that requires you to be a man, a good man, a great man in our society. All of those things that drive towards great manhood and great masculinity. You ain't gonna feel like being, a great dad. You ain't gonna feel like being, a great husband. You ain't gonna feel like all that kind of stuff. But guess what? The reason why it's impressive when you see a guy with 6 pack or 8 pack abs is because what that man that is, I mean, it doesn't even stop at just going to the gym. In order to have an 8 pack, man, you got to not only go to the gym, but you got to have your diet in order, all that kind of stuff, man. They say abs are made in the kitchen, not the gym,
Mhm.
right? And so, but either way, feelings can't be part of your discipline journey, and feelings can't be part of your manhood journey. But I think, unfortunately, in our culture, to your point, we attach feelings, which is generally speaking a feminine attribute. We attach feelings, and there's nothing wrong with having feelings. I mean, in terms of appropriate situations. But when you live by your feelings, you will never live by the proper man journey.
Yeah, I mean, just on the subject of male discipline, as men, we have to be the rock. We have to be the bedrock and the foundation, the flagpole, because the lady's job is the emotions. The lady's job is to feel and to caretake and to be nurturing and do those things. We have our own version of those things, but for us to fulfill our purpose and to be the men that they need us to be, we can't be driven by our feelings. And it takes discipline. It takes discipline to take that breath, to bite the lip, to be like, I'm not going to say that even though I really want to, even though I feel like it. I'm not going to react to this dude on the freeway, even though I feel like it. And because you have to have that greater depth of vision, you have to have like, what is my purpose? Because all those feeling things, all those urges, they take us out of that goal. They take us away from the mountain we're climbing. They take us away from our purpose in life. And so that's where the discipline comes in. And I think to the point I made earlier, there's great book. And I mean, if you guys haven't gotten into Simon Sinek yet, The Power of Why, and his new book, The Infinite Game, which I think a lot of guys, it makes so much sense when you look at why guys are lacking discipline, why they are about the instant gratification, because they're in the finite game. They're just trying to win. They're just trying to make some money. They're just trying to this one goal, check this one box, but they don't have the infinite game mindset of this is for my legacy, this is for my children, this is for the future of the planet and my family, et cetera, et cetera. So when you're in that finite game mindset, then instant gratification and your emotions seem to make sense. You don't have the discipline to say, no, I better not react that way because I'm just in this to win it right now instead of what's the long game? What's the end goal? Is this about me or is this about something bigger than myself?
Yeah. And we gotta have more discipline. As men individually, we have to strive to have more discipline than the world around us and the people around us. Even what I mean by that is, if you're in a relationship with a woman, Well, if you're in a relationship, I'll put it that way. I mean, generally speaking, if you're in a relationship with a woman, you gotta strive to have more discipline than she does, or at some point she won't respect you. If she has more discipline to go to the gym or more discipline in her career or work or money, ambitions, all that kind of stuff, at some point she's going to look at you and be like, "Oh man, this guy's dead weight, right? I gotta carry him around." If you have a social circle of guys, of men in your life, you should strive to have this, and this is not a competition kind of thing, but we should strive to be the tip of the spear amongst the world that the world that we're a part of. And if you're a part of a group of guys, and that's the core of being like a lot of the guys that we idolize, the Navy SEALs of the world, they all strive to be the best. I mean, Maverick and Top Gun, we wanted to be the best. I mean, amongst all the other pilots. I mean, whoever you or whatever you're amongst of at your workplace, all of those kinds of things, we should strive to have the highest level of discipline in that circle, the highest level of discipline in the world around us, wherever we are, whatever your altitude is that you're flying at. You should be at the peak of capabilities and possibilities in terms of discipline. And unfortunately, like I said, I think in our culture, especially in our relationship culture, in the maybe even the dating world, the relationship world, and all that kind of stuff, unfortunately, a lot of women have become masculinated, and quite honestly, I think they're a lot better at discipline than we are these days in some ways.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. It kind of goes back to the five people you surround yourself with. Like if you're in a
Hmm.
space where you want more discipline, you need more discipline, you'd like to have more discipline, then you need to edit your circle because obviously those around you don't have the discipline because you emulate who you're around and you see every day. So you need to upgrade your circle and go find those guys that do have discipline. If you want to go to the gym, go find that guy that's in the gym and has the discipline to be there 5 days a week or 3 days a week and also has the discipline to do the nutrition regimen, the meal prep, all those different things. If you want those things, surround yourself with those that have it. And even better, just like any successful businessman, you want to surround yourself with people who are smarter and better than you at what it is you want to achieve. And so if it's discipline, then you need to find those guys that have the discipline and emulate them, do what they do. Don't hang out with your buddies that are getting drunk every weekend and all they say is, "Oh, let's get a beer, let's go hang out, let's go to the show, let's go do this." If that's not what you want to do, then you need to edit your life just like anything else. Edit the people in your life and surround yourself with the people that will give you and support you in that discipline. Because a lot of times, if you don't change your circle, you don't get a group of guys around you that are of higher echelon and a higher bar. Then those people will crab you. They'll be like the crabs in the bucket. You're trying to do better. They want to pull you back because they like you the way where you are. So if you're trying to do better, you just kind of, and it's lonely. Every time a man tries to up level, it gets lonely because he's got to edit all those people out of his life to make space for the new people to come in that resonate with him on that level. And speaking of resonating on that level, it's time for our first break. We're the Madmen of Masculinity. This is KLDC, and we'll be right back.
Dude, they say if you the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room. That's right. Faux show.
And so, this is one of those topics where, when random people will ask how come we don't challenge men and how come we're always talking about this is a healthy, respectful challenge to us as men, as a community, man, of us being better than who we are, being better than what we are. I don't think that's a I don't think that's a big ask. Hey, let's be better. Let's be better.
Well, and to your point, like we as men, we challenge different in a lot of ways. I mean, if we
Yeah.
were in service together, if our lives depend on each other, then the challenge would be a lot more aggressive. But for like guys like us that have been doing this a while, our challenge is a little more subtle because we want those people who want to take on that challenge. I'm not trying to force you to do anything you don't want to do, but if that resonates with you, that sounds like something you want to do, then
Yeah.
we're your people. Come talk to us, or we can point you in the right direction, or you can come hang out with us. But we're not here to like try to twist your arm and force feed you into discipline or anything else. We're just saying this is our experience. And if you want something better, this is what we've learned on our path because we've failed forward and fallen on our faces and done all those things to get to the point where it's like, oh, now I get it. I want to be better. I have to do these things.
Yeah. This is the reason why Navy SEALs push each other is because they're going to need each other on the battlefield. Because there's going to be a battle, there's going to be a fight, a gunfight that they're going to be in. That they're going to need the guy next to them to be at his peak, and the guy next to him might be the one to carry him off of the battlefield or out of the fight on his shoulders because he's wounded. And so us as men, for us to push each other, for us to encourage each other, is not out of spite. It's out of I need men around me that are strong. I need men in our culture that are healthy. I mean, there's so many problems that wouldn't exist in our world if we had stronger, healthier, more disciplined men. Quite honestly, I mean, not that all the problems are men, but I guarantee you what, most of the solutions are men. The solution to most of the problems in our culture are healthy men.
We should probably talk
Man,
about
we
that on
just
air.
took, yeah, we just took a little deviation. All right, let's
Rabbit
put
hole.
that on tape. We're back. We
Yes, we're back.
are back. Man, we
Little
took a
detour.
little a detour off ramp during the break here as if you don't know, we record our shows. They air at 12:20 a.m. in the Mile High City, KLDC, every Wednesday evening and Saturday mornings. And so we record our show, and as we record it, we live stream on Facebook and YouTube. So check us out, Mad Men and Masculinity, Facebook, YouTube. And by the way, for real, it don't cost you nothing to hit like or hit subscribe
Yeah, come on.
or put a comment in there telling us what you
What is
think
your
if you
finger
agree or
broke?
disagree. It don't cost you
Finger ain't
nothing,
broke.
man. And it doesn't cost you anything, but it benefits the world, and not as just us, but when we have these kind of conversations, and when algorithms pick this up, and when algorithms begin to promote positive male content, more people see it. That's just the way it is. And we're not even at the point, we're not monetizing this. Ain't either one of us making no money off of this,
No,
man.
this
I
is
mean,
labor of love. We're still paying to do it.
we do
We're
this. We
still
pay to
paying to
do
do
this
it.
thing every week, man. So anyhow, don't cost you nothing. But yeah. So we took a little detour, and the whole
Yeah, let's
point of
rewind it. Let's bring some of that back.
the whole point of the conversation like this is to is to in a healthy way encourage men to be better, because when men are better, society's better. When men are better, we're there and more available for other men. We have tighter connections, tighter bonds. We got friendships. Men don't feel lonely when we have these types of conversations, and we're able to encourage and lift up each other. When men don't feel lonely, they're able to reach out in times of need. When they're able to reach out in times of need, then when they're in their darkest hour and wondering if they should be alive tomorrow, then it's a lot more likely that they will reach out to a guy, because men are living in healthy and holistic ways. And so these kind of conversations are not us speaking down to men. It's us speaking across and trying to lift up manhood in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I made the point earlier on before the last break with that. We're not here to overtly challenge or be aggressive about it. We're here like, here's the invitation. Join us if you want. But if you do join us, and to Kirk's point, this is why Navy SEALs and all these elite, more highly disciplined people, the one percenters, the high performers, why they challenge those in their inner circle is not to challenge them or to belittle them or anything like that. It's to make themselves better. They challenge others because if the others up level, they have to up level. So it's about this, this competitive circle in a way, this circle of upliftment that they generate. And so the challenge isn't about oh, you're less than me. It's like, no, I want you to be better so I can be better. And that's where a lot of the discipline comes in, a lot of lack of discipline. I know in my life and a lot of other people's, especially a lot of the men's nowadays, they don't have that circle of guys around them. So they don't have anybody checking them. They don't have anybody saying, hey, you sure about that? They don't have anybody saying, hey, I think you could do better. Or, they don't have anybody challenging them to up level them. So without that circle of guys that are of the caliber you want to be, that are of the level you want to be, to challenge you to that level, then you're only going to rise as high as the crabs in the bucket will let you rise, or as high as your lack of discipline will allow you to go.
Yeah. And this is why, for example, the circle of guys that we hang out with are the type of guys that will put on a men's summit to bring men
Amen.
together to talk about, to talk about deep topics, man, to make men be better. Because again, I want you to be better because when we're on the battlefield in a firefight, and if I happen to take a round to the leg and I go down and I need to be carried off the battlefield, I need you to be strong enough and capable enough and able to help me out in that situation. So in a way, serving men serves men and it serves us as well. So so again, these are the types of conversations that we have in context of men. And so if you know a guy, forward this conversation to a guy, forward the YouTube link, forward the Facebook link, hit share. I mean, these are conversations that men ought to be having, that are not ego driven, but are we go driven. I mean, we go as far as we go, and we go as far as I go. I go as far as we go, et cetera, et cetera. So I just made that up, man.
I like that.
Uh,
That was good.
this is a we go kind of conversation. But
Yeah.
hey, man, I wonder. Speaking of, well, I mentioned earlier about pivoting this conversation.
Here we
The
go.
first letter in discipline is D.
Mm-hmm.
Men need amongst, I think if you can have D discipline in your D,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all know what I'm talking about, you can have discipline in every part of your week. You can have every discipline in every part of your life if you can have D discipline, capital D discipline in your D, in your sexuality. I mean, and so, at the core of who we are as men, I mean, all psychology, agrees that, our sexual identity is kind of the core of who we are, especially as men. Um, and so, man, if we can have discipline in that area of our lives, and, man, everything else just kind of falls in line after that. In my opinion, anyway.
Well, I mean, we just had David Pissarro on, who is the dad advocate, who does the dad's law school, and he was talking about it. And this is one reason we decided to do the subject this week, because after last week, it's like, ooh, maybe we need some more discipline, especially that D discipline, because we're the target, we're the prey, we're what the ladies want. They want the money, they want the structure, they want to feel secure, they want to feel safe, and that's what we provide as men. And for a lot of guys, you become a target, and they just look at you like a paycheck and a dollar sign. And how do they get us? Short skirts, low cut blouses. They get us with that D. They get us by,
Mhm.
that getting us booty blind. And so if you have that discipline, if you can have that discipline to go beyond the physical, especially with somebody you think there's a future with, if you can have that discipline, especially nowadays, I mean, even past having a future with somebody, it is so dangerous for men to get involved with a lot of these ladies, because some of them are scandalous. They'll come up and make allegations, and just out of the blue, whether you did anything or not, if she makes an allegation, you're spending 100 grand in court to prove you didn't do nothing. So having discipline in that way and vetting these ladies and finding out who they are and if they're worth your time, worth your sexual energy, will save you so much in the long run. Plus, it makes you much more of a high value man. If you have issues finding dates, having relationships, getting what you want sexually, maybe you're not having enough discipline in that area. Maybe you're not honoring your own energy and your own power as a man, and not looking at you as the prize. I mean, you're the
Mhm.
prey, you're the one she wants to get. So maybe having that discipline will actually up level your own sexual marketplace value, and then will up level the opportunities with higher level ladies in the future.
I like to live through vulnerability and I like to connect through vulnerability. And I'll be vulnerable and honest and tell you that I lost a career because I didn't have discipline in my sexuality. I lost my dream career. I mean, what I wanted to have and do since I was a little kid, man. When I grew up, I wanted to be and I lost that because I didn't have discipline in that area of my life. I've lost multiple relationships, multiple marriages, quite honestly, because I didn't have discipline in that part of my identity, that part of who I was. I didn't see myself as a king in that area. And I acted like a joker. And as a result, I lost I lost out on all the chips on the table, right? I mean, and so when we and if you think about, man, you think about media, you think about news stories, you think about how many rich and powerful men have been taken down in one way or another, even if it cost them millions upon millions in lawsuits, in PR, in contracts. I mean, we've talked over the last few weeks about men in the media and issues they have going on with women and all that kind of stuff. And it becomes something you just see in the news, like this man and this man and this man and it's something that ironically is kind of unique to when you hear these stories. You don't really hear news stories about rich and powerful women being caught up in scandals too often, being caught up in scandals with with some nefarious activity with men in general. Normally it's the other way around. Normally it's some man and some accusation or a series of accusations or whatever it is. And so, you know, that when you don't have discipline in that area of who you are, I'm telling you, it's going to cost you something big time.
Yeah, and that's why having an infinite viewpoint, understanding the infinite game, having a purpose, having a goal greater than yourself, having thinking legacy minded, thinking about the future will help you in this regard because you won't allow those little, instances of, oh, I'm in the mood, oh, she's offering, oh, this, I mean, we spend so much time trying to build ourselves up as men. We spend so much time trying to become that upper echelon. And then as soon as we get there, and of course, for most guys, if they're going to be honest, 100% honest, they're going to tell you they're doing that stuff because they want to get the ladies. They want to get laid. They want to get some booty. But then once you get there, you end up giving away all that you just worked for to the first girl that comes along because you didn't have enough discipline to vet her to find out if she was worth it. And to your point, I mean, some of these ladies, they're just after the bag. If you have something they want, you look like a paycheck. You look like the gazelle on this hair with a limp, and she's the lioness coming to take you down. And if you don't give them what they want, just like in that episode about Shannon Sharp, we did. It's just there's no real valid, no valid, no validation to her claims really. It's an obvious money grab, but she's gonna get some money because you know I mean, to his point, even it's just easier to pay her off. And if you don't have the discipline, this is what we end up with. If you don't have the discipline to vet, to make sure they're worth it, then you end up paying the price in so many ways. I mean, gentlemen, remember, you're always paying for it, one way or the other. Don't lie to yourself. I remember as a young man, I used to say, "Oh, I don't want to pay for it." You're always paying for it. I don't care if you're paying for it up front or on the back end. You're always paying for it.
I mean, and in that case, you just mentioned about Shannon Sharp, and that's just one example. I mean, man, there's so many
So
examples. Happens to be one that was somewhat recent in the media as far as the big blow up. Of course, you got the freak off trial going on. That's a whole nother level. But
mhm.
even in his case, in Shannon's case, she turned down 8 figures for
Yeah.
a settlement. Not only that, but the rumor was he lost out on a what 9 or 10 figure contract. I mean, and you got to ask for what? To your point, you're going to lose a whole lot. When I go to the gym, I see there's obviously guys in there that are just trying to get healthy, just trying to get in shape or get fit, and there are guys in there that are peacocking. There are guys in there that are trying to pick up chicks. But I tell you what, there's probably equal, if not more, women in there that are peacocking, trying to pick up dudes. I mean, you can go into the gym, man, and there's yeah. I mean, man, there's more, yeah, man, there's more booty than a pirate ship up in the gym, man, and it's obvious what they're doing. It's obvious they want to be seen. Like, really, does your leggings or the short? Do they need to be all the way up in there? Do they really need that? What do they call it, the ruching or something like that, where it's all scrunched up the back and whatever you call it. But I mean, and so you know, as as far as men these days, we are being targeted by the lowest hanging fruit. We're being targeted by the women who are willing to compromise who they are in their identity and their femininity and the value of what they have to offer. They're willing to trade that for what you have, even if what you have is some attention. Definitely, if what you have is some money, or something they can walk away from. And so we got to understand that, man, that we can't be the big fish in the pond that gets taken out by just a little piece of cheap Walmart bait that was put on the end of a fishing hook. Like, come on, man,
Well,
we got to be better than that.
Well, speaking of bait, it's time for us to bait that hook. We're gonna take our second break. We're the Mad Men of Masculinity. This is KLDC, and we'll be right back. What you say, Walmart bait? That's funny. That's funny.
Walmart bait. That the cheap one, not even like Cabela's or Sportsman Warehouse, not even that, like the Walmart bait, the little cheap stuff, man. I mean, man, they offer us like the not even the good stuff, man. It's kind of ridiculous, man. It
Well,
is,
it's
and we fall
it's
for it. It
funny.
works.
Oh yeah, I know we fall for it, and it's funny too because like I mean, the joke is nowadays, you got to be a 6-figure earner to date a broke single mom, and it's like it's kind of how it is out there
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah,
You got to
yeah.
have all this stuff for just any random girl
But
out of
nowadays
Walmart.
they just offer it up, man. I mean, I know people on social media. I'm gonna speak, women specifically, who, man, every month or so got pictures of them all over a new dude.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's like you putting this on social media, like, you okay
Yeah,
with you
yeah,
okay
but they
with
don't sleep
with the next
around.
guy seeing you with the current guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, we got to be better than this. But
yeah.
we can't fall for it, man.
That whole serial monogamy thing. I think that's gaslighting because it's like you just bouncing from the one to next. I mean, you might as well go
Yeah,
ahead and just light them up, just light them up.
yeah.
I can't say no. No, I used to bounce too. One girl to the next.
All right, let's roll.
Let's go back,
We're
and we're
back.
back.
We are
It's that time.
back.
Third quarter, y'all.
Your boys, Madmen and Masculinity, KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile High City on the interwebs, everywhere. Man, I forgot to tell you,
Everywhere.
man. I had a dude reach out to me, man. I heard us on Spotify, young guy,
Yeah.
and I don't even know how he got my phone number, but he texted me. He lives in Florida. He texted me and he's like, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to connect." So I called him, man. We young guy, like 19. We had a great
Nice.
conversation. He's about to get engaged. He's moving, all this other kind of stuff.
Ooh,
And I was
good
like,
time
"Hey,
to
man,
call.
you mind if I keep in touch?" I mean, he didn't. I don't think he wanted anything specific, but yeah, man, homeboy, guys out there, man. There's a lot of good guys, man, and
Mhm.
so shout out to my guy. I didn't get his permission to put his name on the air, but I wanted to point out that he heard us on Spotify, and man, he reached out, because of conversations like real talk, man, real conversations that we have.
Well, I mean, y'all, if you're listeners on Spotify, Apple iTunes, YouTube, whatever, and you want to get in touch. You'll actually get to talk to us. This is not like we're not Joe Rogan. We ain't got a whole staff. Like you can actually still get a hold of us. So like you'll actually get to talk to us. So if you want to talk to us, reach out. We get a lot of folks
Yeah,
making comments on the TikTok videos. We get a lot of folks that'll get on the YouTube videos. So I mean, we see those. Some of them we ignore because we don't want to talk to them or we don't want to
yeah,
engage with that comment.
yeah,
But we see them. We definitely see them.
yeah. I tell you what, man, having discipline in your D,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, will change the trajectory of who you are, just of your life in general. You won't settle for a busted broke woman. You won't settle for somebody that's been around the block. They have this thing. What is it? The term, the guys that are involuntarily celibate, incel.
And so yeah,
I think we need to come up with a term of there's women who are involuntarily hoes, and we need to call them in hoes.
you know,
I mean, because they just they just out there. They can't help it, man.
because
They just that ain't gonna work. You don't think so?
they gonna work because it's not involuntary. They are voluntarily holding
They
themselves
can't help
out
it. No, man, they can't. I'm
sexually.
telling you, it's involuntary, man. They can't help it. Like it's just part of the DNA. This is
It's
who they
just
are,
what it is.
and I, I was actually having this conversation with my wife a day or two ago, and I think 90% of women are 24 hours a day, only 60 minutes away from having sex.
That's true. It could be.
They can get a man, whether it's their man or just some random man, a man, not necessarily like a great man or top tier man, but they
Yeah.
can get a man to have sex with them in 60 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling
It'd
you,
be
man.
faster
And
if they live closer.
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they can get online, and they can go on a dating website and they don't have to spend a single weekend alone because they can get they put up the right pictures. Those dating websites, man. I used to be on that first cover picture. It's always got some cleavage. It's always one of these kind of deals up in there, and and they put the picture, with them in the tight dress and the bikini, and oh man, what I hate. Oh man, I hate this. I'm so glad I thought about it. I hate when I scroll through my timeline and I see some female posting a picture, just like a random picture of her in a tight dress or her in a bathing suit or whatever. And without a shadow of a doubt, you go down in the comments, simp,
Yep.
simp, simp. I mean, there's no shortage of just simps that just, oh, you're so this and you're so that, and oh, I wish I could, I wish I would this and I would that, just simping all over the place. We need some insimps. We need another term, insimps. They involuntary simps, man. I mean, they just can't help it, man. They can't stop.
Well, these are the guys that need some sort of discipline, whether it's social media
Hmm.
discipline, D discipline, and even to your point, the ladies need some dating discipline, their own D discipline, because we all see, a lot of guys, and this is one of the things we get aggravated with the show is that we know you guys out there watching, but y'all are silent. You're like the silent mafia, silent majority. You don't say nothing, you don't comment, you don't like, but we're out there watching. And so, in the same way, ladies, men are out there watching. They see you with the new dude every weekend. They see you with all your little pictures and stuff. And each one of those things, even though it may get you attention from the simps, is decreasing your value in that guy's
Hmm.
eyes. And so many guys nowadays, I mean, yeah, ladies, you can have any dude any night of the week that you want, but he may not keep you. He's probably going to have fun with you. And the guys that do want to keep you are the guys you don't want because they're the beta male simps, incel, whatever you want to call them, that don't have the discipline to vet you or to say no to you or to generate a masculine foundation that you actually want him to have. So we're getting this catch 22, this repeating cycle of disappointment because of lack of discipline on both sides. Ladies, you need to be disciplined with your body and be disciplined about not giving it away so easy. Guys, you need to be disciplined with your D and not giving it up because of all of the catastrophe that could follow. Because maybe that lady sees you as a mark. Maybe she sees you as a bank account and a paycheck. You have something she wants. Otherwise, she wouldn't be coming after you. She sees some value in you because we as men, fortunately or unfortunately, are only rated by the value we bring. So obviously, if this lady's talking to you, she sees some value. So you want to be disciplined so that you don't give it away too soon or free or worse.
And in the same way that she devalues her, I'm gonna say commodity, because it becomes a commodity when you act like that.
Good
When she
word.
acts like that, she devalues her commodity when she spreads it around like that. It's like you got a big old slice of bread and you got a teaspoonful of Nutella, right? I mean, and so when you spread that Nutella on a bigger slice of bread, it just becomes thinner and thinner. So she devalues herself when she acts like that, and when she becomes a merry-go-round, and everybody gets a turn, and all this other kind of stuff. And along the same lines, we as men devalue our commodity when we offer it up cheaply and freely as well. I mean, the broadband sex industry makes more than all professional sports combined. It generates more income than all forms of media combined, and it's free to consume. It's free to consume because we're being monetized. We're being our clicks, our eyeballs are being monetized. And so we devalue who we are as men when we don't hold the bar high and expect more for what we have to offer. And so, women are monetized in retail industry, and they got to pay more for stuff that my Head and Shoulders is cheap compared to the 8 bottles of stuff on the side of the tub that my wife got to get, right? And so women are monetized in certain ways and men are monetized in others, and men are monetized by women when we devalue our value, our worth, when we don't hold ourselves up as a prize. And you got to understand, if you're a good man, you're a prize in this culture. You are a prize, and wounded women will never affirm that you are a prize, but you are, because you're rare, and anything that's rare has value. And so when we hold ourselves to a certain standard, a certain bar, we maintain that. Like, no, I'm not, I'm not settling for, I'm not selling for Ritz crackers. No, I want some fancy stuff, man. I want some good stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because when we were talking about this topic, we even brought it up on the golf course yesterday about there is such thing as semen retention. There is such a thing as being disciplined with even that, and dopamine retention. There's such a thing as attention retention. We as men are commoditized with the sex industry, with sports, with TikTok, with social media, with all these different things that takes our attention, our energy away. And for a lot of us, especially if we're lacking discipline, what we need to do, head out into the woods, no phone, no computer, no nothing, 3-day reset, get back into nature, reset, and then make a plan to be disciplined with your seed, be disciplined with your energy. Because when we deplete ourselves that way, a lot of times we lack the motivation, we lack the energy to do the things that we want. And that's why having that infinite vision, having that goal, thinking legacy minded about what your life's going to mean, what are you leaving behind, how are you going to make the world a better place, will help you motivate yourself day to day, because it's hard to get up every morning. Just like Kirk was saying, it's hard to have you go out and do something you haven't done in a while and you're sore and you need to, Advil and take some, Tiger Balm just to get loosen things up and get it moving. But when you have that discipline, when you have that longevity mindset, when you know you're creating a legacy for your offspring, for your kids, for those that you don't even know yet, it helps you to prioritize and keep you disciplined for the future. But so much of our attention is being pulled by online porn and social media, TikTok videos, and the things that we use. We know this is pulling your attention away maybe from other things, but at least we're trying to provide healthy content that will maybe inspire you to go do something more healthy versus some of the other content which we see a lot of ladies monetizing themselves using the AI filters and all these different things and make themselves look better than they are. And that's another thing. Be disciplined in dating, gentlemen. Make sure you go on a coffee date or make sure you get a real photo or maybe a FaceTime with them. Because a lot of times you'll be very surprised when you see this girl in person after you've seen her profile all this time, thinking, oh my God, she's perfect. You see her in person, you realize all her pictures are from the boobs down or the boobs up. You never saw the lower half.
You know how many women are out here getting needles in their forehead because they want to look younger, because they want to look better.
Yeah, it's like the
You know how
BBL
many
thing.
women are, many women are getting, BBLs and whatever else you name it, man, all this other kind of stuff. And a lot of the trends and a lot of the things that they're getting is really to stimulate a man's sexuality. I mean, a man a quest or a perceived desire for a younger woman, a perceived desire for a bigger booty, a perceived desire for bigger breasts, a perceived desire for whatever. Just even having the big eyelashes, that has a whole history behind it. I mean, you
Oh yeah.
name it, and so all of that is just meant to drive us to buy. Basically, it's the incentive for us to buy something, but you're buying an artificial product when you buy that. When you spend your money slash your time on all that kind of stuff. To your point, in terms of guys that are single, maybe guys in a dating world, you're better off going on a jog. You're better off going to the gym with a hood on so you're not looking around. You're better off investing in yourself, making yourself bigger, better, stronger, like the $6 million man, than to be out here chasing everybody that'll reply to you on that dating app and going out on, spending all your money on coffee dates. You got 5,000 stars at Starbucks because all the coffee you bought at Starbucks and all these dates, but at the same time you got nothing to show for it. I mean, we gotta honor and value ourselves higher than that.
Yeah. At any point, no fingers, but also remember this, gentlemen. The whole purpose of makeup, the red lipstick, the rouge on the cheeks, is to simulate sexual arousal. Because when women are sexually aroused, the blood rushes to their face, their lips become red, their cheeks become red. So the whole purpose of makeup is to simulate sexual arousal so that we will buy, so that we will, lose our discipline and go chasing. So just remember that all this stuff that they do is just to gain our eyeballs and to gain our attention. And speaking of gaining attention, it's time for our last break, y'all. We are the Mad Men of Masculinity. Thank you for listening to KLDC, and we'll be right back.
Dude, the whole purpose of high heels is to make the lower body have an unnatural posture such that your waist, your hips flex forward, which means your booty flexes backwards. And so your calves bulge more than they normally would standing flat footed. I mean, we
Yeah,
can go on. I mean, man, you definitely you can't go to Target without seeing, come on, man. It's like, I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of guys that'll tell you they don't even want to go to church because,
yeah.
man, you go to church and the person up front, singing a song got, something on that you can't even focus on nothing else. I mean,
I just heard too, like, Just Pearly Things. Pearl, shout out to Pearl on Just Pearly Things. She was talking about on a video I just saw that it's almost better for us as guys to hang out with a crackhead than with a Christian girl because whatever they say you did, they're going to believe the Christian girl. They're going to believe the girl in church because she's a good Christian girl, but the crackhead might not have no weight to stand on. So it's like, no, don't go
mm,
after crackheads, but just be careful, have some discipline because if you want a good Christian girl, just know that if she decides to, she's done with you and make some accusations, she's going to be more believed than some of these other girls.
well, and my point is that there's no safe space these days for men in our eyes. There's not a safe space, and I don't judge nobody's like and motivations or whatever, but I do believe fashion has crept so deep into just who we are as a culture, quote unquote fashion, that
Mm,
that a lot of women don't even realize that they are making themselves individually and collectively into a commodity.
yep.
And by nature, a commodity is never love. You don't love a commodity.
It's
You
just a
might say,
thing.
I love Starbucks. You like to drink inside the cup, but when you're done consuming that thing, you're gonna throw the cup away.
Yeah.
And hence our dating world. Anyhow.
Oh, yeah.
All
Before
right,
we come
bro.
back, I put in the
Yeah.
comments bmen.org/summit. Go check it out. Get your tickets. Tickets go on sale for Father's Day. June, is it June 15th this year? Or what day is
Father's
Father's
Day,
Day?
yeah. It's this weekend at 2:15.
June 15th. Okay. Yeah. So tickets
Yeah.
go on sale June 15th. Get your seats. We only have 150 seats available. It's going to be bomb, man. Last year was
Yeah.
off the
Be good
chains. This
stuff.
year's going to be even better.
Be good stuff, man. All right, let's wrap this thing up, man. I gotta go.
All right. And we're
Your
back.
boys are back. That's right.
Back
We are
again.
we are back, man. We are back like the game on the cereal box. It's on the back.
Oh, yeah.
That's back in the day, man. See, I'm older than you, man. You don't remember back in the day. There used to be games on the back of the cereal box.
I
I
remember the
used to sit
games on the
I
back of the
used to sit
box,
there and
man.
eat
That was our
cereal, and I
reading
would,
material.
yeah, you turn the box around and you sit there and eat the bowl of cereal while you read the back of the
Well, that
box, man.
that was after you got your hand out from digging all the way to the bottom trying to get your prize out. And
Oh,
then
you
you'd be
had to get
leaving
that
all the
prize,
sugar
man.
crumbs. Yeah, you'd be leaving all the sugar crumbs on the table. Your mom come around, smack you in the head, be like, "You better clean that up."
You had to get that prize, man. A lot of us, I learned to empty it into a big bowl, like one of them big salad bowls. Empty the whole box in there. The prize was always at the bottom. Then you get the prize, but then you got to figure out a way to get it back into the. And when you put
Mhm.
it back into the box, it ain't never the same size. The
Never the
box be all
same.
bulging at the sides and all that kind of stuff, man. And which
Be like
is
some of these
not
ladies.
unlike, which is not unlike our culture these days, man.
Yeah.
When it all gets poured out and when you get that prize in the bottom of the box and you try to put it back, it don't never go back the same way it came out, man. That,
Yeah, and
that's
then you
that's
realize
exactly it.
how cheap that prize was. It's just a little bit of plastic. It
Exactly.
ain't all it's made up to be, and now you done messed up the
Hmm.
whole box to get something that you would have got anyway if you just waited a minute.
See, man, don't play with me, man. I got the prize out of the
No,
latest Cracker Jack.
Crack a Jack.
I went to a baseball game several weeks ago, and this is my prize that was in my Cracker Jack, and I had to go all the way to the bottom of the bag, man. And then I open it up, man. All it is some stupid little sticker, man. Some stupid little sticker that I don't
That's
even. I
one
don't.
temporary tattoos.
Is it?
I think it is. You
Eh,
put it on your arm.
what I want some dude in the Navy, man, that don't even look like my son on my arm, man. I look like some, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I look like some black dude with a red-headed white kid in a sailor outfit on my arm, man. Come on, man. I'm a
Don't be
grown man,
reverse
dude.
racist. Don't be reverse
I'm
racist.
just saying, if it was my son, I'd be down with it. If he's in the Navy, If it was him, man, I throw it on there. But you would question me if I had that sticker, that tattoo on my arm. You would be like,
Oh yeah,
no,
I would ask some
sideways.
questions. I would be like,
You would have some
what's going
questions.
on?
I would look pretty creepy, man. I would look pretty
Yeah,
creepy with that.
but
But anyhow,
that's why you got to have dudes in your life to help you with your discipline. 'Cause you don't be walking around with some
exactly,
crazy sticker on your arm, and people are like,
exactly.
"What you doing over there?" Looking
Exactly.
crazy.
Because part of discipline is accountability. And, whether that's you're accountable to yourself to push yourself and strive to succeed, or you're accountable. I like my workout app that I use because I use that as accountability. I can see all the workouts I did and I can track my history and I can all that kind of stuff. And, I like the accountability of that. I don't go to the gym with anybody else to like a workout partner, but I like the accountability of that. You got to have discipline though, man. Now, us as men, you gotta have discipline, and if you can get your D discipline down, then a lot of other things will fall more easily into place.
Yeah, I mean, once again, this is why you got to have a group of guys around you. I mean, if you haven't seen it in the comments or you listen to us on the radio, go to bmen.org/summit, the next men's summit, August 23rd in Parker, Colorado. If you don't have a group of guys, come there, you get a group of guys. Guys will help you with your discipline in every way, especially your D discipline, because some of those rides may be fun, but you don't want your friends to find out. And if you got friends around that'll call you out on your stuff, you might think twice before you jump on that late night ride that you don't want nobody to know about. Just saying.
Which is a point because if you're doing something that you would not want your best guy friends to know or to see, it's probably something that goes against a basic tenet of discipline. It
Yes.
probably goes against something that you would not be proud of. And most of the things that are discipline driven are things you would be proud of. And so that's why it's important to have a group of guys around you, guys that would kind of pull you back and say, hey man, Russ, that
Hey,
ain't
good luck.
necessarily a good look. That ain't a good look, man. And I mean, when you live like that, then it's not a big shock for you to get into, say, a relationship where even the woman in your life, brings some level of accountability. Brings you got to have discipline to be a good husband, man. You got to, because it ain't about feeling, man. It's you learn how to serve without being feeling based or feeling driven.
Yeah, well, and that's why you want to have a higher echelon of men around you as a man because you will think as they think, you will act as they act, you will be as disciplined as they are. And so, if you're not as disciplined as you want to be, and you find those guys around you, or you up level your circle, you're going to think like they think. Be like, well, what will Kirk say? What will Jason say? What will these guys say? If and it will stop you a lot of times from doing those instant gratification things, those things that won't make you proud of yourself. When we're isolated, when we're locked in our rooms by ourselves and nobody's looking, yeah, it's easy to go, oh yeah, nobody's looking, nobody can see me, but you see. And so if you want to be proud of yourself, if you're having a lack of self-worth or lack of self-respect, get some guys around you that you respect, and they will help you with your own self-respect because you will stop doing those things that diminish your self-respect and diminish your self-worth because you'll have guys around you that will help you up level, and you'll start to think like them and start to go, well, if that's what he can get, if he gets that type of girl, if he gets that type of job, he gets that type of thing, I can too. So it broadens your mindset, it broadens your horizons, and makes you realize that there's more out there for you. But when you're isolated and you're by yourself, all you think you have is the screen and the remote, and those things aren't fulfilling you. That's two-dimensional living.
Yeah. When you live like that, you live isolated. You live cut off. I was thinking as you were saying that discipline is cultivated when nobody's watching, but it's celebrated when everybody's watching.
Amen.
And so we ought to strive as men to develop our discipline in the quiet places, in the places um, where we almost have to do it. I'm gonna say faith, not necessarily from a spiritual perspective, but faith in that it's going to pay off. Like every other investment, it's an investment. And when you invest in, Berkshire Hathaway, or when you invest in Alphabet, or whatever you invest in, it's really borrowed belief that someday this is going to pay off. And in order to have the results that you want to have in life, at some point as men, We got to be driven to have the borrower belief that the investment in private is going to pay off in public.
Yeah, and for those of you guys who are hungry for a change or hungry for a mind shift, I mentioned it before, I'll say it again. Simon Sinek, read, The Power of Why and The Infinite Game, or it starts with why. If you don't have a why in your life, if you don't have a purpose, you need to get one. And if you don't have a depth of vision or legacy mindset or infinite game mindset, then read these books, shift your mindset, because these are things that help us with discipline. So many of us have been beat down to the point of just apathy and not and giving up, that it's hard for us to see the forest for the trees. It's hard for us to see the sunlight past all the darkness that we've surrounded ourselves with. So shifting your mindset and having guys around you who are also shifting their mindset will help you so much, because we as men, especially nowadays, we need to be the prize. We need to be disciplined enough to know that we're the prize and that we have a purpose beyond ourselves. And so many of us are taking ourselves out. It's like 2,000 a day are taking themselves out because they've lost their purpose. They think that their purpose is gone because their ex left them and took the kids and took their money, but there's still more. You can still rebuild yourself as long as you don't give up. But that not giving up means you need to discipline yourself enough to change your mindset, get guys around you to help and support you, and get a vision of a legacy of something bigger than yourself to help you out of that quagmire and out of that dark hole you might be in.
It takes discipline to have good male relationships in your life because you have to invest time to do that. You got to spend time together. You got to have the discipline to be able to open up and be vulnerable and have difficult conversations that you wouldn't have publicly and openly and on the microphone. And so it takes discipline to have that. And I'll circle back to it though, man. At the core of who we are, if we can focus, what if we as men set the goal or the bar for our disciplined being at our sexuality? I mean,
Good place to
there are
start.
many ways. There are many ways, but what if that was a barometer? What if that was one of the indicators on our panel, on our dashboard of life? How am I doing in this area? Yeah, we can. I mean, it's easy to measure how am I doing in my finances. Well, you can look at your bank account. How am I doing in my fitness? Well, you can look at your waistline. How am I doing in my fidelity to who I am sexually? How am I doing with valuing the thing that comes out of me that creates life beyond me? How do I value that? How do I not fall for the lowest hanging fruit? The proverbial banana in the tailpipe from 48 hours. How do I not fall for the cheapest trick out there? How many men married a woman thinking she would be as sexual after marriage as she was before marriage? Because that's what she had to offer. And once you cross that onto the other side of that line, all of a sudden it's like, well, wait a minute, what happened? What happened to that woman? But what if we set ourselves our vision on something higher, a higher evolution of who we are, and like I said, put on the dashboard of life, how am I doing in my D discipline?
Yeah. To his point, to my point, you need a greater vision, a greater something bigger than yourself to work towards. If you're isolated, if you're suffering, if you're depressed, go out and help somebody. Go out and get around some guys, start reading some books. Come to the summit August 23rd. Come around us. Come listen to us. Shift your mindset, because you are necessary. The world, the universe, God will not be what it is without you. You're supposed to be here for a reason. Maybe you forgot your reason. Maybe you don't know what it is yet. You can find your reason. When you find your reason, you'll find the discipline. You'll find the guys around you. You'll find that purpose and that legacy that will outlive you. When you have that purpose and legacy in your mind and your sight, you won't be as emotionally driven. You won't need all the instant gratification. You'll be able to discipline yourself better, and you'll be much more proud of yourself. You'll have much more impact in the world, and it'll be of much greater value to yourself, to the community, and to the world at large. So we're not here saying there's anything wrong with you. We're here saying you're valuable. We just want you to up level and be the best version of yourself that you can be.
Oh, and as again, as men, understanding that you have value, that you have worth, and that you are significant, you are important. No matter what the voices of the world try to tell you, man, that's important, man. That is key and that is valuable. And especially talking to younger guys, man, you have so much to offer. Don't sell it for cheap, man. Don't diminish your value by picking too big of a bread to spread your Nutella all over. Is that a bad
So
example?
no, I know. I mean, it's like spreading your Nutella too thin, butter too thin. But
Sounds
there's a
creepy.
quote. It sounds a little creepy, but there's a quote that I've heard you say that reminded me of this whole thing. So, gentlemen, especially younger gentlemen, remember, one extra pump will get you 20 years of pain.
Don't be the one pump chump. I'm
Don't be that
telling
guy.
you, because that one extra one, man, that'll cost you, man. That'll cost
Yep.
you a lot.
You gotta have that discipline. You gotta have that pump discipline.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
until next time, we are the Madmen of Masculinity here for your disciplined mindset, and we are out.